It's possible it'll all be okay, but I think
some people are saying that there's just no need for junior engineers anymore because of AI, apparently.
programming, which is one area where AI is making the most progress.
People straight out of college are finding it impossible to get an interview. On the flip side, I, as an individual creator, have been trying to improve my workflow with AI to get ahead, but I haven't been able to realize even half of what they promise AI can do. My only source of income are the apps that I'm making in this YouTube channel. So if I could use some magical AI to implement all the features I always dreamed about and fix all the bugs that I wanted to fix, believe me, I would. I am bombarded.
Claude Code.
Claude Code emerged.
And I'm sure you are as well, with hype videos about Claude Code, and it seems like every new model is just nuts. When I reflect on the work I've been trying to do recently, I realize that a lot of the time I was the one doing the hard work, while the AI was just coasting along or downright making my life even more difficult. I picked 3 examples to share with you, hoping to save you a few tokens and maybe your sanity and time. I've been working on this app for years, and while it's been used by over 10,000 people daily, it's still not without its problems. Over the years, I've added some useful features, but because they've been spread out in time, they don't really share the same design language. For example, here's the clipboard history window, and it has some styling here and there with the borders and everything, but then there's also a system monitoring dashboard, which does use the same accent color, font sizes and such, but the borders are slightly different, and the items in the list look different as well. Anyhow, I would like to make this design more cohesive. But now, what am I supposed to write in my cursor AI chat? Make the design more cohesive? How likely is that it produces something usable? I mean, it sure is going to do a lot of work, but at the end of it all, what if I don't like it? And you might say, well, Marco, that prompt is vague, the instructions are unclear. And that's fair to say, but consider this. If I spend my time thinking and formulating my thoughts like change the border here, update the padding there, who is really doing the design? Is it Claude or me? And so while I'm there trying to come up with a design that is visually appealing but also recognizable and not totally generic, Claude created a file called design system, and then it proceeded to give itself a pat on the back using tokens that I am paying for. In a world where almost any feature or app can be written by AI quickly, how can we differentiate our products? Today's sponsor Mobbin is a unique app that can help you find inspiration and see how the best in the world do it. Mobbin is a well-curated, searchable collection of screens and flows of almost every app and product you can imagine. This allows you to explore and experience those products like a real user without ever having to sign up for any of those services. Let's take Airbnb as an example. Maybe you are building something similar and you want to know how Airbnb implements the host user flows. But you're not an Airbnb host yourself. With Mobbin, you can see every screen and every flow. They're organized like a tree, which makes it super easy to browse. If you use my link in the description, you can get 20% off during your first year, so check it out. Another thing that I tried was to create a document called scope.md in one of my projects. And based on an initial idea, I tried to give Claude the opportunity to not only build the project, but manage it itself. What I quickly realized was that Claude would often build crazy features for no reason. For example, out of the blue one time, it decided that it's a great idea to write a markdown parser from scratch because we could use it later in the project. I really had to intervene. Other times, it would build something, then change requirements and remove it. Now, I will say that it's not all Claude's fault. It simply needs a lot of data and context to work with. But this project was just a wide open green field. And I guess, when on a green field, it's always fun to implement your own markdown parser. One time in my previous company, we were doing some major refactors. And one of the most senior engineers said, "Guys, this is our opportunity to make a new programming language. We're doing so many changes and nobody will even notice." Maybe Claude thinks the same way, I'm not sure. Now, I have a claim to make. AI can't help with the kind of code that I'm about to show you. But based on what you can see online, you might ask, how can that be? Isn't Claude Code like self-conscious by now? Maybe.
Close relationships with your chatbots.
But my argument is not based on how intelligent it is or whether or not it's self-conscious. What I try to make is very simple, but the problem is, I don't know how to write that prompt. Skill issue, I know. But let me show you something. This is some logic that decides what happens when a user presses a keyboard shortcut in my app. Now you might look at this and say, well, Marco, that's really crappy code. Not untrue. Look at all these beautiful nested if statements. But hear me out. When a key is pressed, them's the rules. If you were trying to prompt Claude to implement this for you, how would you describe it? Think about the ambiguity of spoken language. If this, but not that, but when only this, I would personally rather ask Claude to explain Swift to me once than sweat every time to write that perfect prompt. Since the beginning of time, in programming books, when they try to describe an algorithm, they use pseudocode. This problem is not new. Trying to explain a process or a set of rules to a presumably intelligent reader using spoken language is next to impossible. I tried breaking this up into even smaller functions to make them easier to describe, but then the question still remains: who is then doing the hard work?